Hi everyone, it's Shannon and welcome to today's video. So today I'm finally getting around to doing my top 15 eyeshadow palettes of 2022. Took me a little bit of time. I've been sick and just life in general. So finally getting around to doing it. Now I want to disclose, unlike my best of 2022, these are all eyeshadow palettes that did come out in 2022. I double checked them. I'm pretty sure they all came out in 2022, but that is, they all came out in 2022 from what I understand. Also, there was a couple that came out just before the end of the year. I had already made my list and I didn't include them, but to be honest, looking at my list, I think they probably would have been outside these 15. There wasn't any that I really love. So before we get started, I do want to say that going forward, and one of the things I'm going to be doing with my channel is I'm going to be stealing an idea from Samantha March. So Samantha March is a YouTuber that I've been following for probably almost 3 years now, and she was doing this last year. She's actually no longer going to be doing this in 2023, which is why I feel comfortable stealing this idea from her. And that is, I'm going to be ranking the eyeshadow palettes that I try each month. And it's not necessarily new eyeshadow palettes, but whatever eyeshadow palettes I use that month, I'm going to rank them, and I'm going to probably rank them. I haven't really decided, but I'm probably going to rank them based on the look that I came up with for, you know, that month. And that way it will give me a incentive to use the eyeshadow palettes that I have. And I really am making a conscious effort to use what I have. I do have a lot. I do need to do some declutters, and that is something I'm going to attempt to do. I've never really done a declutter before, but that is something I'm going to be doing going forward, is that I'm going to be ranking the eyeshadow palettes that I try each month, and they will likely not all be new. And actually most of them will probably not be new, because I want to make an effort to use the eyeshadow palettes that I have and also encourage other people to use what they have, not necessarily buy new stuff. So with that, let's go ahead and get started with my top 15. I did cheat a little bit. I'll explain why when I get through it, but let's go ahead and get started. And before we get started, I do want to say these are all eyeshadow palettes that I really love. I love all of them, and ranking them was very hard. That's why I decided to stick with just the 15. I pretty much buy what I like and what I want to buy, so I don't really purchase anything that I don't think I'm going to like. So I think that helps a lot as well, but a lot of this is personal preference. I like more neutral looks. I do like a lot of shine, but so I do have some that have color, but they're going to be lower on the list, but they might be higher on your list if you love color. But I will say I love all of these eyeshadow palettes. None of them have anything wrong with them. I just kind of giving you my ranking, but that's why I wanted to stick with just 15 because I wanted to kind of keep this as a positive, uplifting video. So with that, number 15 is from Sigma Beauty, and Sigma actually has, I think, 3 in this countdown. So it is the Alice in Wonderland palette. Now, I am not a big, color person, but I do love this palette. It's really pretty. I am actually planning on a video. It's one of those videos that I've been planning on wanting to do, but it's one of those that takes a while to film, is to do a comparison between the Alice in Wonderland and the Cinderella, just a whole collection, because I actually have the collection for both. So I'm planning on that. If you're interested in seeing that, let me know, because I know I'm a Disney's fan. I also love makeup. I know there's other people like me. So I kind of want to, see side-by-side comparison which one I would prefer more. But I love this palette. It's really pretty. It's got a lot of neutrals in it, but it also has a lot of color in it as well. And I love the Sigma formula, so I really love, and honestly, I'm not a big Alice in Wonderland fan, but I do love the packaging of the whole collection, so it's really pretty. But if you like, Disney, and if you like, color, this is a really beautiful palette, and this is my number 15. Okay, and moving on to number 14, I've talked about this little quad quite a few times. This is from Blvd, and this is the Simple Kind of Life, and this is her, the Icy in Colors Simple Kind of Life quad. It is the all matte quad, and she came out with 4, well, the brand came out in 2022. They came out with 4 quads. This one I just love. I love this. It's so basic. It's so good for every day. I already bought, when they had a sale during Christmas, I bought a backup. I just love it. You know, if you're looking for a basic neutral palette that's great for, you know, on the go for every day, you can pack in your gym bag for work, you know, just travel. This one is absolutely beautiful. It goes with anything. I like pairing it with, you know, some shimmer, the Icy and Sparkle, the eye pigment. I pair it with that. It's just absolutely beautiful. So it's just a really good basic complementary quad, but you can also wear it on its own. I just love it. I think to me, this is my favorite. So this is the only Give quad that made the list. Not many quads made the list because it's hard with only 4 shades, but this one I think is just so good, and I just can't say enough good things about it. Okay, next up is Pat McGrath, and Pat McGrath probably has, I think, the most palettes in this countdown. So it is going to be the Pat McGrath Nude Allure, and this is the Celestial Nirvana eyeshadow palette. It is just 5 shades, and this is the basic one. And this one, I did a side-by-side comparison. She came out with some Star Wars ones, and I like these two much better. These were part of the Christmas collection. They're no longer available on her site, but I did see as of today, they are still available on other sites. If I find them, I will post links below, but they will sell out eventually. They were $36. Just a really beautiful, you know, Quint. Really, it's a different formula than what she normally is used to. This one is the more basic one, the more user-friendly. I think it's really pretty. It's a really great way to introduction to Pat McGrath, but it is different from her other formula. So just keep that in mind. But I think it's a beautiful, you know, Quint, and a great way, you know, first of all, also great for travel as well. So this is number 13. Okay, so number 12 is going to be from Anastasia Beverly Hills, and this is the Rose Metal palette. And this one I love. I got this, I had actually decluttered all my Anastasia palettes, like even Soft Glam, Sultry, all of them. And I had saw the Nouveau, and you know, everybody was raving about it. I purchased it, and worth every single praise. And then when I saw this one, a lot of people were iffy about it, but I wasn't. I absolutely love it. The only reason why it's probably lower on the list is you're gonna get a grungy look. You're gonna get a smoky look, you're gonna get a grungy look, but you're gonna get a beautiful look. But it's definitely going to give you, you know, more of a grungy look, and it is definitely very warm. I love very warm, so I absolutely love that. But really beautiful palette, different formula, I think, than her old palettes. I love it. I love the new packaging. I just love everything about it. So this is number 12, Rose Metals from ABH. Okay, so my number 11 is another Sigma palette, and this is the Sigma New Mod, and I got it dirty. I need to clean that. But this is the New Mod. This, I think, came out earlier in the year. Definitely reminiscent of the Natasha Denona Retro. You know, I think it was one of those that I saw. Again, I let people review it, and I'm not on the Sigma PR list or anything, but everybody really loved it, and so I ended up getting it, and I love it too. The one shade I love is this Avant-Garde shade. It is very, very kind of pale, but I just think it's really pretty. I love it on the eyes. So, you know, if you like this color story, or maybe you want the retro and you haven't gotten it, then maybe check this one out, because I think it's absolutely beautiful. The quality, it's different. It's a different type of formula. It's a different type of quality. The shimmers are definitely more subtle, I think, but I still love them. I think they last great, and I love the Sigma formula. What I would also say is Sigma also has a lot of good sales. So maybe wait, if you're not looking to pay full price, wait for a good sale. They always have good sales. You know, get on their mailing list and wait for a good sale. Unfortunately, I don't have a promo code with them, so I can't help you there. There always is promo codes, but my best advice is to wait for a good sale because sometimes they will have 30, even 40% off on these palettes, and I think that's a really good time to get these palettes. So my number 11 is Sigma New Mod. Okay, so now we're in the top 10, and now is the sister palette to the Pat McGrath little Quint, and this is Bronze Bliss, I believe. Yes, Bronze Bliss. And this one, honestly, probably would have been, they probably would have been switched if it wasn't for this middle shade right here. This middle shade is just wow. I mean, it is just wow. I absolutely love it. It is amazing on the eye. This is the one that steals the show for this Quint. So again, they have sold out on Pat McGrath, but you can get it on other sites. So this is one, if you haven't picked it up and you're interested, definitely, you know, look into it because it's going to sell out eventually, but I think it's beautiful. And if you like these bronzy tones, and I just think it's a really good quality, you know, Quint. Again, different formula from a normal, but it's a really good formula. So, and the packaging is great and travel friendly as well. Okay, I did say that I cheated a little bit, and this is the first time I cheated. I cheated twice. And my number 9 are these two little beauty bentos from Kaja Beauty. And I included them because they really ranked when I did my ranking for Kaja Beauty. And if you didn't see that, you can go look it up here. I have 10 of these beauty bentos and I ranked them all. These two came out this year and literally they are 1 and 2. I ended up ranking Peach Madeleine you know, ahead. This one's my number 1, and then Mauve Bouquet was my number 2. But honestly, they could be interchangeable. It's really what I'm wearing and what mood I'm in. But these are the only beauty bentos that I believe that have 2 shimmers and 1 matte. So here is the Mauve Bouquet. And then, like I said, the Peach Madeleine was my number 1. And honestly, I thought I was gonna like Mauve Bouquet more, but I ended up liking Peach Madeleine just a tad bit more. And when I took my son to Walt Disney World for a quick little weekend trip back in October, these were the 2 that I brought. Like, I just brought these. I wanted to be very lightweight. It was just a quick weekend trip. This is what I wore, and a lot of people were asking me, like, what eyeshadow are you wearing? And it was just these 2. I was, you know, changing them back and forth. So these are my number 9. I cheated a little bit because they are, you do have to purchase them separately, but these are the best. So if you're looking to get into the Kaja Beauty bentos, these are the 2 that I definitely recommend. Okay, so number 8, right in the middle, is going to be Charlotte Tilbury Pillow Talk Dreams. And this is the only other quad. So there was just 2 quads. This is the only other quad. And this is the only eyeshadow palette that Charlotte Tilbury came out with in 2022. She didn't come out with a big palette. I believe this was the only palette she came out with. She came out with the Pop Shots, which were in my best of 2022. But now I wasn't a fan of the original Pillow Talk quad. It was just a little too light for me, didn't pack enough punch. But this one I absolutely love. I wore this, I think I wore this in the best of video of best of 22. I'm not 2022, I'm not sure. But I think it's absolutely beautiful. It is just a really, this is a really easy quad. Like, this is something that's just basic. It explains it. If you don't know with Charlotte Tilbury, you can see on the back where it kind of explains what each shade does. And it's user-friendly, super easy to use, beautiful shades. I think it goes with everything. It is just, I think this one is so much better than the original Pillow Talk palette, but I absolutely love it. And I think this formula is closer to the infamous Fire Rose quad than any of the other formulas. So I think this is one of the top ones. So Pillow Talk Dreams is number 8. Okay, and number 7 is one that's fairly new to me, and I really haven't had a chance to play with it too much. However, I do really like it, and it's color story that I'm not really comfortable with, but when I play with it, I really like it. And it is the Natasha Denona Retro Glam palette. So you've probably seen this before. I actually really liked the mini retro. I have since decluttered all of my minis because I didn't make sense to me to have the middies and the minis, so I ended up decluttering all my minis about a year ago. But I do really like this color story, and it's definitely different from anything I do have. I do have the pastel. It didn't make this list. It did come out in 2022. It didn't make this list. I like it. I don't love it. I just have every Natasha Denona midi and I decided to get it. But I think this is beautiful. I just want to play with this one more, but it's really, really pretty and different color story. So I really can't find anything that compares to this. So I really do like this. Now I know there is a Sydney Grace version that was done by Mel Thompson, and they've put together, it's basically single shadows. So if you want something that packs a little bit more punch, you may want to look into that one, because I have heard people like that one better. But I know Mel Thompson had put together what she thought the retro palette should have looked like before she passed, and it's pretty much this color story, but it's with Sydney Grace shadows. So you know, definitely check out that one if you're not interested in this one. But if you're interested in this and not, you know, a little bit more subtle, then definitely check this one out. I think it's really pretty. Again, I want to use it some more. Okay, my number 6 palette is the other one that I cheated on, and that is because it is the Tarte Gilded, well, this is Gilded Glamour, and that is because they're a set. So I was going to break them up, but they're purchased as a set, so I went ahead and included them as one because I wanted to have this video be the top 15, and I included them as one because they are purchased as a set. So this is the Gilded. Now this was part of the Tarte Holiday Collection, so that is the Gilded. And then this is the Glamour. So here is the Glamour. I love these. I think these are fabulous. The formula is fantastic. Definitely Tarte. I know everybody's been talking about the Man-Eater palette, but to me, these are so much. I didn't get that palette. It's just too big for me. I don't like big palettes. This is the perfect size. You're getting, I think, 18 shades, and actually you're getting 36 shades. They complement each other. I think they're fantastic. When I went on vacation in November, this is what I took. A lot of people complimented me on my eye looks for the cruise that we were on, and these were the two palettes. I use them. You can definitely use them together. And if you want to get an idea of the size, here is the Natasha Denona. So they're just a little bit tinier than the Natasha Denona, but you're getting 3 more shades. You're getting 18 instead of 15. And again, their size, as far as thickness, they're just a little bit thinner too. So really great for travel. Now, this was a limited edition Christmas release. It was $54. Last I saw, they were on sale for like $30. So they're selling them out, they're clearing them out. So if you can get these two, definitely pick them up. You will not regret it. They're fantastic. They're not going to be around for long. I think these were great, and I hope Tarte comes out with more palettes like this in the future. Okay, so now we're into my top 5, and number 5 is going to be from Anastasia Beverly Hills, and this is the Nouveau. So this is the one that I had mentioned earlier before, and this was the one that came out first. And again, I did not pick this up. I really was interested in it, did not pick it up right away, but everybody was raving about it, so I decided to pick it up. And I actually got like 3 because this shade kept breaking. And this shade did actually break again, but it's just, this shade is just really, really fragile, but it is stunning. Now the Wisteria, the lavender, I thought I'm never gonna use that. I don't know, like I'm just never gonna use that. I use that a lot. I use it a lot. Like it is such a beautiful, beautiful lavender, and it really does tie in a lot of the shimmers with the rest of the palette. So it's just a really beautiful palette. I love the packaging. I love everything about it. I think, you know, she came out with 2 palettes this year, or 2022. Fantastic. I love the shape of them, everything. So this was my number 5, Nouveau. Okay, so my number 4 is a palette that's also new to me, and it's one that I didn't plan on picking up, but I decided to when there was a sale during Christmas, and I love it. And it is from Sigma, and it's my favorite Sigma palette from 2022, and it is the Sigma with Diana Saldana. And I have to admit, I don't know who Diana Saldana is. I did look her up. I now subscribe to her channel. Haven't really watched many of her videos, but she did a really good job on her palette. So this is the palette, and it just appealed to me. Like I saw it and I really wasn't gonna pick it up because I thought the size was a little big, but because I like the fact that one of the things I like about Sigma is that their palettes are all the same size. So the fact that this one was completely a different size than the other Sigma palettes kind of, you know, screws up how I store. But it is pretty much the same size as the similar size than the Natasha Denona, and again, you're getting 18 shades, but I am wearing this today. So this is what I am wearing today. Here it is. This shade right here, Aquarius, it looks really bright blue, but it's just a really gorgeous, gorgeous, you know, shade. I just think it's so pretty, something different. I am wearing Chai as a transition shade, 212 and the outer corner, and then links all over the lid. And then in the inner corner is the Grateful right here. So that's what I'm wearing. Really great, beautiful palette. Now this one is different. Again, like I said, it's differently shaped than the other Sigma palettes. It's significantly thinner. So you can see that it's thinner, and then obviously it's going to be taller, but then it's shorter. So, you know, it's just different shaped. I know they just came out with an Ann Nook palette that's like 20 shades, I think. So completely different. You know, this is probably, I was afraid this one was going to be, you know, a lot larger. It's not, it's just shaped different, but it's really pretty. And it is my number 4, which was a big, big surprise. So this is a really great palette. Okay, so moving on to my number 3, I'll tell you 3, 2, and 1 could be interchangeable given the day. Probably 1 is probably my number 1, but my number 3 is the Huda Beauty Empowered. Again, this was another palette that I sat on. I waited to other people's review. I did get it on, I wait till I get it on sale, but man, is it gorgeous. It is so beautiful and it is so up my alley. I just absolutely love this. I did, this was my number 1 Huda palette. So I did rank all my Huda palettes recently, and this was my number 1. It's also my most recent, so you tend to like your most recent the most, but it is just stunning. I did bring it on our vacation earlier this month in Disney, and I wore it. I think I wore this one twice. I brought a bunch of palettes with me, but I wore it. I just absolutely loved it. It's so gorgeous. If you like warm tones, this is a really good one. Now, 3 and 2 are very similar, so I think you don't need both. I definitely use both, but you definitely don't need both. But for my number 3, it is Huda Beauty, the Empowered. Okay, and now my number 2, you will see, is very similar to number 3, and that is the Natasha Denona My Dream. So this is, if you don't know, this is what Natasha Denona created. This would be her dream palette, and I think it's a lot of people's dream palette. I think it's just gorgeous, very, very warm, very just gorgeous. I absolutely love this shade Vision right here. This is probably one of my favorite shades in the palette. I think it's just gorgeous. But again, very warm. I also like Invention. Invention is a little bit like, I don't know, it's like orangey, coppery. It's just really pretty. So again, this is just a really gorgeous palette. Now, it is very similar to Empowered, and I think that is, I had gotten My Dream as soon as it came out. I purchased it. With the Empowered, I was like, ah, it's so similar to the My Dream. I'm not sure if I'm gonna get it. And as you can see, they're very, very similar, but there is some differences. I kind of leaned towards, it really was hard. These two are interchangeable, and it really just depends on the given day. If I'm probably looking for more shine, more, you know, punch, I probably will go with the Empowered. But I think I lean, when I was kind of going toward it, I lean towards the My Dream. I just think this is such a good, it's just a beautiful palette. I love it. So it's really good. So I definitely don't think you need both, but you could go with either or, and honestly, you're not gonna go wrong with either one. And my number 1 palette for 2022 is the Pat McGrath Mothership, number 10 Moonlit Seduction. I love this. I mean, it is so gorgeous. I mean, I just can't imagine. I know other people ranked this a lot lower. They thought it was a little boring. I just love it. Everything about it. I went to an event with my son and my family over the weekend, and I wore this, and a couple people in my Instagram post were like, what eyeshadow are you wearing? And it was this. So it's just these Bliss Astral shades on the side. Now it is a very basic color story, I guess you could say, for Pat McGrath, but it's solid. It's solid. For me, it's easy to use. It's one that I can easily reach for and use and not have to think too much about, not gonna have to worry about what look I'm gonna go. I put this shade, and I don't know the shade names, but I put this shade all over my eye, and man, it is just so gorgeous. It's just so beautiful. So this is my #1 Pat McGrath Moonlit Seduction. Now she's a pricey one. She is a pricey one. So if you're gonna be looking at Pat McGrath, definitely wait for a sale. You know, I think that's the best bet because you can. This has already gone on sale. She had a sale, and this was not excluded from the sale. So you can always get this on a sale. But it's just a beautiful palette. So if you are looking, I am going to be doing a lot of rankings. So that's one of the things is I want to kind of go through all the palettes that I have and ones that I have large collections of certain brands like Pat McGrath. I'm going to be doing rankings because I think that's going to help me decide which ones I'm going to declutter. So Pat McGrath ranking is forthcoming along with some others, but this one, Moonlit, I'm not sure if it would be #1 because there's several that I really, really do love, but it's definitely up there. It is such a solid palette. I absolutely love it. Okay, so there you have it. Those are my top 15 or so palettes that came out in 2022. Again, so moving forward for 2023, I'm going to be selective. I think I was rather selective last year, though I kind of got caught up. I'm trying to scale back with my purchases. I'm going to be reviewing things that which is pretty much what I've done before, but I'm going to be reviewing what I want. But if I obviously get something in PR, then I will, you know, probably do a video on it, but I don't get a lot of PR. So, you know, that depends, but I'm going to be really focusing on using what I have because I don't think I do enough of that. I don't think a lot of people do either. So again, going forward, each month I will be doing rankings of all the palettes that I used that month. Moonlit Seduction will be in there because I used it last Saturday. But again, I'm going to be using palettes that I haven't really reached for. And hopefully, you know, that will encourage others to use what they have as well. So with that, if you like this video, click like, click and subscribe. That way you get a notification every time I post a new video. Bye everyone.